A quiet but crucial message for those drawing a state pension or nearing retirement. The Department for Work and Pensions has just confirmed new winter fuel payment rates, and this update could make a real difference to the cold months ahead. Stay with me, I'll walk you through exactly what's changed, who is eligible, and how this may affect you or someone you care about.
You may already know that every winter many pensioners in the UK receive an extra payment, the winter fuel payment, to help with heating costs when the weather turns biting. What's newly revealed is how much more you might receive this year, and under what circumstances. The increase isn't monumental, but it is meaningful, especially as household bills continue to bite, and winters are never kind. If you're aged over 65 in England, Scotland, or Wales, or over 60 in certain circumstances, for those born before a defined date, you could qualify. It doesn't depend on income, and in other words, it's not means-tested. Although there are rules about having lived in the UK for a certain time. Means-tested means that a benefit is decided based on how much income or savings you have. The winter fuel payment is deliberately designed to avoid that kind of check for most people, making it simpler and more reliable for pensioners who need it without extra hoops.
From the announcements, we can see that the minimum payment has been nudged upward compared to previous winters. For many pensioners, the base amount now sits in a new bracket. For example, those receiving the full-rate state pension might find their winter fuel payment rising by an extra £10 or more compared to last year. Others, especially households including someone over a higher age threshold, could see more. Couples will continue to receive payments per household rather than per person, so two people in the same home won't each get the full individual sum but will share the higher rate. If you live alone or only one eligible person is in your household, you may get the single-person rate. Let's imagine Mrs. Patel, aged 67, living alone and on a full state pension. Last winter, she might have expected, say, £250 for the whole period. This time, her payment could rise to something closer to £265 or £270. That extra can help cover a few nights of heating or an electricity top-up. Meanwhile, Mr. Ahmed and Mrs. Ahmed, both over 70 and living together, might see their share increase from last year's rate of £350 to perhaps £370. These are illustrative numbers. Your actual amount depends on your personal circumstances, but you can see how even a modest rise matters when every pound counts in winter. You might be wondering, has anything else changed? Yes, in rare cases, people under the usual age threshold might now qualify because of changes in eligibility tied to pension years or residence rules. For instance, someone aged 63 who is receiving the pension because of surviving spouse rules might still get the winter fuel payment under revised guidance. It's worth checking your letter from the DWP to see if your classification has shifted. Also, if you've recently moved back to the UK or spent time abroad, your eligibility may be affected. There are minimum residency rules that the DWP still enforces. It's also helpful to remember how the winter fuel payment fits into the bigger system of benefits. The state pension itself in the UK is protected in part by the triple lock. That's a guarantee that the pension will rise each year by whichever is highest of inflation, average earnings growth, or a fixed 3% increment. The triple lock ensures your pension doesn't get left behind by rising costs. But the winter fuel payment is a separate wintertime help, layering on top. And for those on very low incomes, pension credit asterisk is another benefit to consider. Pension credit is a means-tested top-up meant to bring your income up to a guaranteed minimum. If you qualify, it can also protect your eligibility for things like cheaper energy schemes or additional payments. If you already get pension credit, your winter fuel payment will come as a bonus on top, not replace anything. If you don't yet get pension credit, it might be worth checking because it can unlock several helpful benefits. I know many of you worry about the cold months ahead, about keeping bills paid and staying warm. I feel that concern too. That's why these increases, modest though they may seem, are important. They're not a silver bullet, but every extra £10 or £20 can ease the burden. If you've ever scratched between paying for warmth or food, then you'll understand how even small changes in payment rates can shift that balance. If you're uncertain whether you qualify for the new level, you can ring the DWP or use MyGov UK, feed in your birth date, residence history and see whether your entitlement has changed. It usually doesn't take more than a few minutes, and you might discover you're eligible for more than you thought. It's likely many older couples or households already receiving the payment will see an adjustment automatically. You may not need to apply again. But if you've recently turned eligible by age or changed address, it's a good idea to double-check. When you receive your winter payment notice in the post, usually a letter advising the amount and timing, compare it with last year's amount. If you think there is an error or your circumstances have changed, contact DWP. Some pensioners have also shared in community groups that a friendly chat or call to DWP brought clarity, especially when they were unsure whether their partner's age or household status disqualified them. If you feel comfortable, you might tell others facing the same question, "I phoned DWP, quoted my letter reference, and got a clear answer in 15 minutes. These shared experiences help our community." One more reassuring point, the government has reaffirmed that payments will not be withdrawn midwinter, barring exceptional circumstances. That consistency matters more than the exact amount, because you can plan with confidence. And even if your payment seems modest, it's one piece of a wider safety net. You may also have access to grants, local authority support for heating, or charitable funds, especially in cold regions, so it's worthwhile checking your council's resident support schemes. In addition, keep an eye on future announcements. While today's revelation sets this winter's rates, the DWP often signals policy direction for upcoming years, and your entitlement might shift again depending on how the cost of living and energy price trends move. If you follow pensioners' news, you'll note that some have campaigned for a winter cost of living payment, separate from fuel, or for enhanced payments in coldest months. So while today's update is what matters now, tomorrow's changes could bring further improvements. I would love to hear from you. Once your winter payment arrives, you might share what you receive, within privacy limits, and whether it makes a noticeable difference. Have your payments fluctuated much over recent years? Did a change in address or a move back to the UK affect your eligibility? Let me know your experiences. That helps others in our community who might feel unsure. If you have any questions about the details, the eligibility rules, the meaning of means tested, or how to check your benefit status, feel free to write them in comments, and I'll try to help with clarity. Thank you for staying with me through this update. Please don't assume your entitlement is unchanged. Check your notice from DWP when it arrives, compare with past years, and if you're unsure, make a call or online inquiry. I'll keep watching for further policy shifts or announcements around state pension and related support, and let you know when something significant is about to change. Meanwhile, take care, stay warm, and know that this modest boost is your government's way of acknowledging the extra cost of winter. I hope it offers you just a little breathing space in the months ahead, and sits as a small but real support in your household budget. Until next time, stay aware, ask questions, and look after yourself and those you care for.